Welcome back, students. Myself Sir Sunil, your physics teacher. How are you all? Fine. Okay, students, good morning. So in 8th class we are discussing our second chapter, second unit, physical quantities and measurements. And today we are going to discuss from this unit one important topic, that is some applications of flotation. Some applications of flotation. All of you please take out your book and ready to watch this session carefully. Okay, students, previous classes we have discussed about the principle of flotation. Flotation, what is flotation we have discussed, and principle of flotation, law of flotation and all we have discussed. Here are some applications of flotation. First one point is flotation of an iron ship. Flotation of an iron ship. A small nail, an alpine, you keep it, it in a water, what will happen to it? Of course, it will sink in water. But size of the ship, you see, it is also made up of iron, clear? But it will not sink in water. It does not sink in water. Why? A nail made of iron sinks in water, but a ship made of iron does not. Why? The reason is that a nail is solid and the density of iron is greater than that of water. The reason is that the nail is solid and the density of iron is greater than that of water. The weight of the nail is more than the buoyant force of water on it. The weight of the nail and buoyant force, if you consider, if the weight of the nail and buoyant force of water, clear, which one is more? The weight of nail is more than that of the buoyant force of the water. That's where it sinks in water. So the nail sinks in water. Okay, students. On the other hand, clear? On the other hand, the ship is hollow and its empty space contains air. Now we are going to discuss why the ship does not sink in water. The ship is hollow shape. Its empty space, in hollow shape, its empty space contains air. This makes the average density of ship less than that of water. Therefore, a ship floats on water. Clear, students? Because of its shape. Because of ship's shape, it does not sink in water. Its shape is hollow. That's why its empty space contains air. This makes the average density of ship less than that of water, means less than that of water's buoyant force. Therefore, a ship floats on water. Now, flotation of man. It is easier for a person to swim in sea water than in river water. It is very easy to swim in sea water than in river water. Why? What is the reason? What is the reason? The reason is that sea water contains salt. Sea water is too salty, we know that. It contains salt. So its density is more than the density of river water. The density is more than the density of river water. That's why the weight of man gets balanced by the less immersed part of his body in sea water. That's why our body of submerged body, swimming person's body, that will be balanced because of the sea water. Clear? The weight of man gets balanced by the less immersed part of his body in seawater as compared to the river water. Thus, it is easier to swim in seawater than in river water. Now, flotation of ice on water. Keep some ice cubes in water. What will happen to it? Have you seen any time have you observed? The ice cubes will float on water. Clear? A piece of ice floats on water with its 9/10th part inside the water and only 1/10th part of it outside the water. Most of the part of the ice that will sink inside the water. The bigger part of the ice will sink in water and only few parts. If you consider 10 parts, out of 10, 1/10th part only will be outside the water. The reason is that the density of ice is 0.9 gram per centimeter cube, while the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. The density of ice is 0.9 gram per centimeter cube, means 900 kilogram per meter cube, while the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube, that means 100 kilogram per meter cube. Hence, the weight of water displaced by 9/10th part of ice immersed inside the water becomes equal to the total weight of the ice piece. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about submarine. Submarine. A submarine can be made to diver or to rise to the surface of water as and when desired. The reason is that a submarine is a watertight boat which can travel under water like a ship. Water like a ship. Here we can see clear a submarine. Clear? A diagram, a model of submarine here. So, what concept behind it? A submarine is provided with a water tanks. Okay, a submarine is provided with a water tank. Okay, here it is water tanks. To make the submarine dive, the tanks are filled with the water so that the average density of the submarine becomes greater than the density of seawater and it sinks. To make the submarine rise to the surface of water, these tanks are emptied. To make the submarine rise to the surface of water, what to do? These tanks will be emptied. This makes the average density of the submarine less than the density of seawater. So, the submarine rises up to the surface of water. Now, next one, icebergs. Very huge and large pieces of ice floating on seawater called icebergs. What is icebergs? Very huge and large pieces of ice floating on seawater are called icebergs. They are dangerous for ships. It's dangerous for ships, these icebergs. The reason is that the density of ice is less than that of the seawater. Okay, students. The density of ice is 0.9 gram per centimeter cube and the density of seawater is 1.02 gram per centimeter cube. Hence, an iceberg floats in seawater with its large portion submerged inside the water and only a little portion of it above the sea water, above the surface of the water. Here you can see iceberg. Only small portion will be outside, the big portion will be inside the water. Okay, students. Clear? That's why a ship can collide with an invisible part of iceberg under the surface of water. Hence, it is dangerous for the ship. This iceberg is very dangerous for the ship because bigger part of the ice part that will be inside the water. Maybe the ship, clear? those are driving the ship, those are moving the ship, he won't see. That's very carefully they have to drive the ship. Now next one, whales. The whales can sink or rise at their will. Whales are sea animals. They have a special organ in their body which is called a bladder. They have a special organ that is called a swim bladder. In order to come to the surface of the water, they fill the bladder with the air. If they wish to come upside the surface of the water, what they will do? They fill the air in the bladder. This decreases the average density of the whale, and so it rises to the surface. That's why it rises to the surface. To dive into the sea, they empty the bladder. To come upon, what they will do? They fill the air in it. To dive into the sea, they empty the bladder. This increases the average density of the whale and it goes down. Now we are going to discuss about the balloons. A hydrogen balloon or helium balloon filled, clear, rises in air. A hydrogen or helium balloon rises in air. The reason is that the density of these gases is less than the density of air. The reason is that the density of these gases, this hydrogen and helium, that is less than the density of air. Therefore, the buoyant force experienced by the balloon due to air becomes greater than the weight of the balloon. Hence, the balloon rises up under the influence of the net upward force. Okay, students. Now we are going to discuss our solved examples. Okay, solved examples. So it is a time to wind up our session. Okay, students. Solved examples will be discussed tomorrow. And tomorrow, you please attend the class by a rough copy. We will discuss the solved examples. Okay. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.